Robert Louis Stevenson. Treasure Island. Chapter 7. I Go to Bristol. It took longer than the squire expected before we were ready to go to sea. None of our first plans worked as we had hoped, not even Dr. Livesey's plan to keep me with him. The doctor had to go to London to find another doctor to take care of his work. The squire was very busy in Bristol, and I stayed at the hall under the care of old Redruth, the gamekeeper. I felt almost like a prisoner, but my mind was full of dreams about the sea and exciting thoughts of strange islands and adventures. I spent hours looking at the map, which I remembered very well. Sitting by the fire in the housekeeper's room, I imagined going to the island from every direction. I explored every part of it in my mind. I climbed again and again to the tall hill called the Spyglass and enjoyed wonderful views from the top. Sometimes I imagined the island full of wild people we had to fight. Sometimes it was full of dangerous animals chasing us. But none of my dreams were as strange and serious as the real adventures we later had. So the weeks passed, until one day a letter arrived for Dr. Livesey. It had these words on it: "To be opened, if he is not here, by Tom Redruth or young Hawkins." We followed these instructions, and I read the letter, because the gamekeeper was not very good at reading handwriting. It said, "Old Anchor Inn, Bristol, March 1st, 17. Dear Livesey, as I do not know if you are at home or still in London, I am sending this letter to both places. The ship is bought and ready. She is at anchor and ready to sail. You have never seen a better schooner. A child could sail her, 200 tons. Her name is Hispaniola. I got her through my old friend Blandly, who has been extremely helpful. He worked very hard for me, and I can say the same about many people in Bristol, as soon as they heard where we are going. To look for treasure." "Redruth," I said, stopping my reading. "Dr. Livesey will not like this. The squire has told people, after all." "Well, who has a better right?" said the gamekeeper. "It would be strange if the squire could not speak for Dr. Livesey, I think." At that, I stopped trying to comment and continued reading. Blandly himself found the Hispaniola, and by very clever work got her for a very low price. There are some men in Bristol who strongly dislike Blandly. They even say that this honest man would do anything for money, that the Hispaniola was his ship, and that he sold it to me for a very high price. These are clearly lies, but none of them can deny that the ship is excellent. So far, everything went well. The workers, like the men who prepared the ship, were slow, but that improved with time. The real problem was the crew. I wanted about 20 men, in case we met natives, pirates, or the French. And I had great trouble finding even a few good ones, until a very lucky chance brought me exactly the man I needed. I was standing on the dock when I met him by accident. I found out that he was an old sailor who kept a tavern, knew all the sailors in Bristol, had become unhealthy living on land, and wanted a job as a cook to go back to sea. He said he had come there that morning just to smell the sea air. I felt very sorry for him, and you would have too, and I gave him the job of ship's cook immediately. His name is Long John Silver, and he has lost a leg. But I saw that as a good thing, because he lost it while serving his country under the famous Hawk. He has no pension, Livesey. Can you believe it? What a terrible time we live in." "Well, sir, I thought I had found only a cook, but in fact I had found a whole crew." With Silver's help, we quickly gathered a group of very strong and experienced sailors. They are not nice to look at, but their faces show great courage. I believe we could even fight a warship. Long John even removed 2 of the 6 or 7 men I had already chosen. He quickly showed me that they were the kind of weak men we must avoid in such an important journey. I am in excellent health and very happy. I eat a lot and sleep very well. But I will not be truly happy until I hear my sailors working on the ship. To the sea, Forget the treasure. It is the love of the sea that excites me most. So come quickly, Livesey. Do not waste any time if you respect me. Send young Hawkins at once to see his mother, with Redruth to protect him. Then both of you come as fast as you can to Bristol. John Trelawney. Postscript. I did not tell you that Blandley, who will send another ship after us if we do not return by the end of August, has also found a very good sailing master. He is a strict man, which I do not like, but in every other way he is excellent. Long John Silver has also found a very good mate, a man named Arrow. I also have a boatswain who uses a whistle, Livesey, so everything on the ship will be done in proper naval style on board the good ship Hispaniola. I also forgot to tell you that Silver is a man with money. I know for sure that he has a bank account, and he has never spent more than he owns. He leaves his wife to run the inn, and since she is a woman of color, men like you and me may guess that it is not only his health that makes him want to go to sea again. J.T. P.P.S. Hawkins may stay one night with his mother. J.T. You can imagine how excited I was after reading that letter. I was almost out of my mind with happiness. And if I ever disliked anyone, it was old Tom Redruth, who did nothing but complain. Any of the other workers would gladly have taken his place, but the squire had decided, and his decision was like a law to them all. No one except old Redruth would even dare to complain. The next morning, he and I walked to the Admiral Benbow. There I found my mother well and in good spirits. The captain, who had caused so much trouble, was gone where bad men can no longer cause harm. The squire had repaired everything. The rooms and the sign had been painted again, and he had added some furniture, especially a fine armchair for my mother in the bar. He had also found a boy to help her, so she would not be alone while I was away. When I saw that boy, I understood my situation for the first time. Until then, I had only thought about the adventures ahead, not about the home I was leaving. But when I saw this awkward stranger who would take my place beside my mother, I began to cry. I am afraid I treated that boy badly because he was new, and I often corrected him and made him feel small. The night passed, and the next day after dinner, Redruth and I set out again on the road. I said goodbye to my mother, to the cove where I had lived all my life, and to the dear old Admiral Benbow, though after being painted, it did not feel quite the same. One of my last thoughts was of the captain, who used to walk along the beach with his hat, his scarred cheek, and his old brass telescope. A moment later, we turned the corner, and my home was out of sight. The mail coach picked us up around evening at the Royal George on the Heath. I sat between Redruth and a large old gentleman. Even though the coach moved fast and the night air was cold, I soon began to fall asleep. I slept deeply the whole journey, up hills and down valleys, through many stops. At last I woke up when someone pushed me in the side. I opened my eyes and saw that we had stopped in front of a large building in a city street, and it was already morning. "Where are we?" I asked. "Bristol," said Tom. "Get down." Mr. Trelawney was staying at an inn near the docks, so he could watch the work on the ship. We walked there, and I was very excited because we went along the harbor, past many ships of all sizes and from many countries. On one ship, sailors were singing while they worked. On another, men were high up in the air, holding ropes that looked as thin as a spider's web. Although I had lived near the sea all my life, it felt like I had never truly seen it before. The smell of tar and salt was new to me. I saw amazing wooden figures on the fronts of ships that had traveled far across the ocean. I also saw many old sailors with rings in their ears, curly beards, long hair tied back, and a strong, rolling walk. If I had seen kings or archbishops, I could not have been more excited. And I was going to sea myself, on a schooner, with a boatswain using a whistle and sailors singing, sailing to an unknown island to look for hidden treasure. While I was still dreaming about this, we suddenly came to a large inn and met Squire Trelawney. He was dressed like a sea officer in strong blue clothes and walked like a sailor, smiling happily. "Here you are," he cried. "And the doctor came last night from London. Excellent! The crew is complete." "Oh, sir," I cried, "when do we sail?" "Sail?" he said. "We sail tomorrow."